Good evening, everyone. I'm looking at this one errant piece of hair that always pops out when I get ready to do a video or talk to somebody or take a cute picture. Yeah. We have a closed private, it's a private, what they used to call secret, private group on Facebook for my customers. Unlike a lot of different magical groups, I decided there's at least, I always recommend Daisy's group, The Witch's Brew, as a very responsible, educated witchcraft group. That doesn't mean that all 10,000 members are always in that same wavelength, but their admins do a real good work. And The Witch's Brew is for women of color. And men, it's for women. It started off as women. It's for everyone. And so that group is amazing in its resources and compared to some of these magical groups I've seen online. And I've been in magical groups online basically since I started practicing. I make no secret that I'm 50 years old and I started practicing in my 40s. But all my life I've been a psychic. I've been a spiritual counselor. Even when I was in the Christian church, I was a spiritual counselor to my friends, to my family, to whoever needed me. Now, keeping that in mind, also, you guys got to understand that the counselors need counselors. In fact, every therapist I've ever met probably has been in therapy at one point or another and probably should stay in therapy. If anything, from dealing with the constant issues of other people, it's heavy. My role as a Mumbo Soup Queen, as a spiritual worker, is to give people sound spiritual advice. Now, that is my belief system, the way I interpret my religion, and the way I practice my magic. So keep in mind what I'm about to tell you is strictly about my customer group, which is designed for people to ask questions about different formulations maybe, but that information's on the website. They might ask, how do I do something? That information's on the website. A lot of times people come into the group with some general questions that are not really dumb or like a real spiritual conundrum that they're having for whatever reason. And for that reason, it's a private group, because I do believe that things that go on in that group should stay in that group. However, we all know that when somebody gets their feelings hurt and they get kicked out of group or they flounce out of one rather dramatically, that words have a way of getting around this messy ass thing we call the spiritual community. And see, I'm a former English professor, but even after that or before that, well, in between that, I was a public relations rep for a children's museum. I'll have to tell you those horror stories on another day. But I understand things, and I understand one thing. Y'all distracting me. I'm hearing noises and voices. Go away. I have a whole study. I have a whole altar room. Y'all chit-chatting and shit. Stop that. That's because you high, nigga. Anyways, talking to Mark's ass. Listen. But a lot of the people who are part of my customer group are, number one, the admins that run that group are my family and my closest friends. They would not be my friends if we did not have certain things in common. And for me, a non-negotiable is, for me to have a really, really, really close friend is we got to have magic in common. You got to be practicing in some way, somehow, because that's my life. I'm not going to spend my life hanging out with people that I don't share a common interest with. When we're younger, we tend to do those types of things so we can feel like we fit in, so we can feel like we belong. But see, I'm 50 years old. My fucks been gone. They've been tossed in that barren field where my fucks once grew. Okay? So understand that. I'm not trying to impress anybody. And that being said, a lot of people that are in my customer group were my students as well. And I'm very proud of the people in that group because they have always exemplified responsible spirituality. I don't give a fuck what religion you practice. If you are irresponsible in said religion, you do a dirty disservice to it, your gods, and your ancestors. Okay? Now let's make no doubt. In fact, somebody's turned it into a meme and I ain't got no credit for it. I was the motherfucker who told y'all, make sure that fuck all this love and light. Make sure your left hand is as strong as your right. So I'm not out here faking the funk when it comes to sometimes having to put a motherfucker down. However, remember that saying, you are what you eat? You are what you practice too. Every time you make spiritual connections to do any form of magic, you got to pay the spirits. Sometimes spirits cannot be paid. That's why it is to the best interest of some of y'all out here not to be fucking with certain spirits. I promise you, motherfuckers want to go from ancestors to goetic demons in 10 seconds flat. But that shit will have you on your fucking ass so fast you won't know what hit you. So, when a person came into the group, and it's happened more than once, but today was oddly interesting. I'm not going to talk about the specifics of the situation because, like I said, what goes on in the group stays in the group. But basically, the person was asking to do a left-hand spell. We weren't really clear on why the spell needed to be conducted. And the first question that everybody asked was, what's his name? They didn't ask, put up his picture so we can curse him. Because I've seen Facebook groups like that. They go after people, they target people just based on some shit that somebody said. And you know the story about the truth. There's, his version, her version, her version, her version, his version, his versions, their version, their version. And then somewhere in between lies the truth. And for me, as a magical practitioner, I have always believed that the truth came from my connection with spirit. Now, especially when you're new out in these streets and you might be incredibly gifted, that has really nothing to do with the advice that I am about to partake with you, okay? Because you probably wouldn't even be drawn to magic if you didn't have certain spiritual gifts. But like any discipline, any craft, you have to hone those gifts. Sometimes you have to know how to turn that shit off and block it to keep certain things from entering your own spirit. Sometimes we have to take a moment and allow ourselves not to let human emotions get in the way of our higher selves. Now, that being said, you still might have to put a motherfucker down. People are always talking about bullshit about like you're not supposed to do work when you're angry. Oh, no. Contraire, mon frere. Yes, you are supposed to do work when you're angry. You are supposed to put your emotions into your work. What the fuck? However, there is a difference between righteous anger and impulsiveness and making stupid decisions with a trigger finger. And just like the mundane motherfucker that accidentally shot somebody in the heat of the moment because they didn't like the way a motherfucker was looking at them, or no, I'm not going to let that bitch leave me, I'll just kill her first. It's the same fucking thing. If you really are down for magic and you really believe in what it does, your trigger finger needs to sit the fuck down. In fact, sometimes I have to sit on my hands. I make jokes about, I ask my ancestors, if I had a yes for a dollar, rather, for every time the ancestors told me, bitch, no, I could at least take myself out to a nice dinner. And the reason why I'm not a millionaire from that shit is because I learned very early on to stop asking my spirits the fucking questions I already knew the answer to. I love divination. I hate divining Because number one, most people come to me for a divination for some bullshit they already needed to be true in the first place. And if you've got $95 an hour for that, I'm down with it. Sometimes I will see customers order. I mean, we have customers spending sometimes an average of $1,500 a month. And I'm sitting here because, yeah, I'm a businesswoman, but I'm also a human being with a goddamn conscience. And I'm like, sometimes I've had to call clients and be like, okay, have you used the last box of shit that you got from me? What you doing? In the past month, we've had to order 120 candles, empty candles, so we can fill them. And I'm like, ooh, luckily, prayerfully, happily, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, most of the candles are pretty positive, aren't they? So that's really great because y'all are out here doing the work. And guess what? I want to retire early. I work a full-time job. So today, when this question came up in the group, guess what a bitch was doing? She was working. And the question came up about hexing someone, and they very simply said to her, look, did you divine on this? I would say 90% of the responses, no, 99, no, 100. Nobody got up in there and said anything but that.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then the conversation kind of got a little ugly, where it appeared to me that the original poster was being incredibly condescending and basically told us that we were, what did she say? Tired. Y'all tired. Well, guess what? I am tired. And I'm tired of bullshit like that. And I'm working the equivalent probably of 3 jobs. A bitch is tired. Know that if you get lucky enough to schedule a divination appointment with you, it is not because I simply want your money. Now, I would be a dumb bitch to sit up here and tell you all that I don't need your money. I'm trying to run a store. I'm trying to participate in my spiritual practice, make a living, and help other people live blessed and fulfilled lives through their connection with spirit. So if you ever want to know what I'm about, there you fucking go. Yes, I like nice shit. I got princess tendencies, but I have always been very careful with the money that I spend. I always show y'all how cheap I am on a regular basis, but that doesn't mean just because I'm frugal that my shit is raggedy. These damn kitchen cabinets, I'm about to lose my fucking mind. Y'all know I had to paint them, and now the paint job, they're just old. They're just falling apart. I don't like that shit. So I made a pledge to myself. I said that whatever money I made after I paid my sales taxes for future classes and divinations, I'm going to put to the renovation of my kitchen. You want to know why? Because I believe in generational wealth, and I'm not keeping this house. My children are going to purchase this house, one of them, probably the oldest. That's how people, get rich. Through generational wealth, through passing down things, to leaving an inheritance. I'm creating a legacy for my children. Now, my youngest is now involved, where she'd always told me, I'm like, okay, I just don't get this, child. You live in a house full of witches. Everybody your mama hang with is witches. Your play daddies, uncles, my mentors, they witches. Why won't you practice witchcraft? And she said, my mom, she told me, I'm 16 years old. Witchcraft involves too much responsibility. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You're right. And I stepped back. And here, almost 2 years later, she's about to create a whole line of Zodiac products for the store and for herself, and she's going to branch out and start her own business. That's what you're supposed to do as a parent. That's how you're supposed to do as a godparent. My mom both supports my business. I support her business. We give each other business. When I see somebody out here in these streets doing something that I don't do, and they're doing it well, and they're honorable and respectable, I send people to other people. Just like other people send people to me. Okay? But see, what I don't have the time for is like in Daisy's group, the admins, they be on it. You know, they be with the like, hey, wait a minute, no, let's see what we're not gonna do here. And there's certain rules you have to follow. And but I don't have time to babysit folks like that. You know? And that group is 10 times the size of mine, but I see a lot of learning going on, and I see people coming into the conjure game and, you know, thinking it's a game, and coming out with spirituality and connecting with priests and priestesses and taking classes and really investing in their spirituality. You went to Bible study when you went to fucking church. And the last time I checked, every time you went to church, they asked you for some fucking money. Because, you know, we're not going to open those doors of the store on air. We're talking about the money that I probably could have remodeled my kitchen with to open the store. We had a couple $1,000s in the GoFundMe, and we had hundreds of dollars that people bought stuff from our wish list. We didn't do it alone, but we definitely did it through spirit. But if you think for one fucking moment that when somebody tells you to get a divination, at least when it comes to me, that is because I want your money, the fuck out of here. I could sell ass and make some more money than that. I ain't even got to sell ass. All I got to do is post pictures. If I wasn't a voodoo site, I'd sell my dirty drawers on eBay. There's lots of ways to make money that ain't got shit to do with spirituality. Because spirituality, if you do it right, is very hard work. And most of us, I'm seeing loving the brothers and sisters, gender inclusive, you know, definitely pro, lesbian, gay, trans, queer, whatever you want, inquiring. We are supportive of sex workers because everybody gotta fucking eat. And I am not a big proponent of things like that you had to deal with in the church, like monogamy, because I understand our spiritual animalistic nature. So, you know, in this particular group, in this particular situation, this person asked for some type of advice on hexing, and everybody came back, did you divine on it first? I have 2 other videos. They're on my YouTube channel. And I'll put this one on there too. It's been a while since we've had some chance to upload. But we're gonna go take a lot of these videos back from Facebook and make sure they get on YouTube. And at some point, I'm gonna do some other live shit that don't involve Facebook, whatever. I don't know. But this is what I got time for. What I didn't have time for today was that old bullshit. Okay? I swear to God, we are pushing the 2-hour mark on the time that we spent on a dumbass post from somebody who behaved like a petulant child, and I'm sure she'll drag me in the goddamn street for having some goddamn morals, for having a position. Because if you don't believe in something, you will fall for fucking anything. And I'm really proud of the people in my group, my admins, because people reported the post. It was so out of pocket. And that called the admin's attention to it. We are grown ass people. I'm so sick of y'all out here throwing wolf tickets, acting an ass in public. But when you get in front of somebody, oh, Mama Liz, man, please stop that shit. Be responsible people. Be decent fucking human beings. You want to know how your karma's going to go? Because that ain't here. That's your next life. Every single world religion teaches that how you live this life is reflected in your next. I don't want to come back here. I would consider that to be a demotion. So watch how you treat people. You know, if you gotta fuck somebody up, you better damn well really need to be fucking them up. Don't just be out here using people for target practice. And then sometimes things have to happen. That's another thing. Think about the many times some bullshit happened to you and years later you realize you dodged a bullet. That if that unfortunate situation had never occurred, you would never be where you are right now. I know I got several of them stories. So, you know, it pays to have a little insight maybe to the past and the future and the present 3-card draw. It won't kill you. Now, since everybody's so concerned about me getting paid, here's some, shameless promotion. Playing card divination class begins on March 26th. It will run for 5 consecutive Thursdays. I've even invited my old students who took it the first time I took it to take it again for free. But it is $250 to you newbies. So that you can walk around with a goddamn deck of playing cards. Ain't nobody's business what you do. And get a divination on the spot on the things that trouble you the most. Take the class. Learn something. There'll be a tarot series, there'll be a bone reading series, and if you've taken Hoodoo 101, you have taken the prerequisite for that. If you have not, a February schedule will be up when I have some fucking time to do it, but obviously I was dealing with other bullshit today and didn't get a chance to do it. So remember how they say every time something happens, an angel gets its wings? Well, every time somebody asks a dumbass question or starts some unnecessary bullshit, a little piece of my soul cries. Stop it. Act like you got some goddamn sense.